From Super League to Olympic distance to age group world records to Kona. Go longer with the right fuel at the right time with SFuels.
This is a phenomenal bike ride, and I can tell you he's so casual. This is his first time he's ever biked the full 112 miles here in Hawaii. He's never been up to the turn in Harvey. He's certainly been up there today. Doesn't he look...
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy, cause it's breakfast with fun.
Thank you, Pajo. Welcome to our 11th year of Breakfast with Bob from beautiful Huckers on the Rocks. My name is Bob Babber, brought to you by Master Spas, SFuels Go Longer, HOKA Let's Fly, Form Smart Swim Goggles, Quintanaroo, Zoot, the original triathlon brand, of course, our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, second at the Ironman World Championship in St. George, Utah. Give it up for Kat Matthews.
Hello. Thanks for having me, Bob.
It's an honor to have you. I mean, how many other people, maybe there's one other who've gone, sub 8 hours?
Oh, too kind.
You guys know that? 7:31, right?
With a team of excellent athletes helping me out.
Exactly. How fun was that? It was
Honestly,
the sub 8 challenge.
Yeah, honestly, it was incredible. As everybody knows, I've praised it over and over again, but doing that as a team and finishing in 31, it was an experience that I'll never forget.
That's unbelievable. And my favorite is a 350 bike ride.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure we'll see that on Thursday, but...
And the other part that really shows what I've seen this summer was one at St. George. You've got the 2019 Ironman World Champion, Annie Hogg, who looks like, okay, she's going to be running in the second place, and you're like, not on my watch. And you held her off, and you got the silver medal. How about a round of applause for that? It's over at the World Championship. Then, at the sub 8, you've got Nicola Spirik, who, I don't know, we're talking gold and silver medalist, one of the most decorated triathletes in history. And she passes you during a run, and people are like, okay, that's done. No, you come back and pass her back. You are pretty damn tough.
Thank you. I want to say that that's physiological, but I guess there's some psychology
That's
in there
mental,
as well. So
yeah, big time.
But that's part of me as an athlete. So that's how I race. I guess it's on paper now. So I was hoping to put that down on paper in a few days, but I'll have to wait another year.
So it's interesting. I'm looking at your neck brace. Aspen was our title sponsor for our CAF event.
I'm giving free advertising.
Ever and ever and ever. I like it. But it brings me back to why you're in a neck brace and why you're not racing. Talk a little bit about what happened, or do you remember anything?
Firstly, I just wanted to say thank you to Patrick, who some of you just heard talk about it very politely and very caringly. I know that was incredibly tough on him, and it still is tough, and the way he's dealing with it is admirable. I was cycling along in Dallas in a training camp, in Texas, near the Woodlands, and a car was coming the opposite direction in a normal road, and it decided to turn off its course, take me out, and cross the road to a venue on the other side of the road. So there was literally nothing I could do, which is in a way quite reassuring. I had no impact on that situation, and I wasn't seen, I assume, hopefully. Bummer.
Bummer. Was it hard for you to make that decision? I'm still going to go to Kona?
Honestly, so I don't remember physically getting hit. I'm hearing some great stories from the people who were around me at the time. Some swear words were issued apparently. I didn't want any help originally. It was like, no, get off me, I'm fine. You've been hit by a car. No, I haven't. And then obviously I actually hadn't heard Patrick tell me that we can get you to Kona. I was like, okay. And then, after that, it was into hospital. I don't really remember much. A couple of days of hospital care, which is nobody's favorite thing. And then my husband, Mark, flew straight out to meet me in hospital. And honestly, we got discharged. And Mark was like, we're going to Hawaii tomorrow. The car was leaving at 5 a.m. And so he sorted everything out. And I guess in a way packaged me onto the flight. Very mutually agreed, but he did absolutely everything to get here. So I'm very grateful.
Is it hard to be here and not be racing?
There are elements of it being hard not to race, but that's not about being here or being anywhere else. It's about not being able to race full stop. So being here and absorbing this and sharing this with everyone who is racing is amazing. And I've honestly been waiting the last 3 years to come back to see this. I didn't race in 2019, but my husband raced. So I sat here in the crowd thinking, this is really cool. I want to go to Kona and race. And I'm going to Kona, and one day I will race.
Well, in that year, in 2019, you were what, 4th at Ironman Western Australia, and but you're at this point you're in the Army, correct?
Yeah, the Army decided, the British Army decided, I was serving as a physiotherapist, and they decided, cool, you're actually quite good at triathlon. Let's give you some time to, see how good you can get. And 2019 was the first year that I was able to race professionally. It seems like a very long time ago.
It does, right?
Yeah.
But you had some good races. With 16th at 70.3 Worlds, and second place at 70.3 Finland. I know she's looking at it like, who cares? It was a great start. 2019.
Who cares about pre-COVID? It's like a whole other lifetime away, isn't it?
Right, but then you win Ironman Florida in 2020. That was pretty good.
It was a good reward for a long summer of whatever we used to call it, quarantine or whatever it was back then. Yeah.
But you ran sub 3 hours. You went 8:40. And then 2021, you win Ironman UK, which is pretty damn cool.
It was really cool. Racing in your home country, as everyone probably knows, is something special. So to win Ironman UK was definitely something I was rewarded by. It was all my family were there, and special.
One, you got second in Tulsa as well, and 2:49 marathon. So then you're starting to announce your presence with authority when you start running sub 250 at the end of an Ironman.
Yeah, it was a bit long as well.
Ah, so it's more like 2:39.
I spent quite a while actually analysing the Strava files of that, and then Anne and Laura's Strava files on their races where they ran a sub 250, and I was pretty confident that I'd be able to match them on race day. So I can say that now because I'm not having to do it in a couple of days. But that race and that run, I was so happy. Somebody came up to me yesterday and like, I saw you at Tulsa and you're having the best time of your life. I was like, I honestly was. My heart rate was super steady. I never in my wildest dreams thought I could run like sub 4 minute Ks to do a sub 250.
Yes.
So I was just running along like, this is too fast. What's going on? Never thought I should push on because I'm going to blow up. I'm going to blow up sometime soon. But I didn't. So there's an element of regret there, but it gave me a springboard to think, what can I do next? And obviously the sub 8 run has a little asterisk by it because it was a sub 8 and it was only a 3 hour 50 bike ride before it. But again, I'm really confident a week ago with my run form.
Yeah.
And I just hope that's something that barrier element of how fast can you do it is something I will definitely take to next year.
I was going to say, when you do something like that sub 8 challenge, even though you're sitting behind another wheel, you have to work damn hard to sit on that wheel because you got some real cyclists out there. You got some people who are pushing the whole time, and you don't want to let them down. Did you find yourself pushing harder than you thought you could?
Totally. I went into sub 8 and I thought, sweet. Easy, like cruisy swim, no drama, sit on a friend's feet, cruisy bike ride, just sit on 6 people's wheel. Like it can't be that hard, I'll push just 200 watts and it'll be easy. It wasn't. My heart rate average was actually identical on sub 8 for 3 hours 50 that it was for the St. George Ironman bike ride, which as some of you know, I sort of toyed with Daniela a little bit in terms of we toyed with each other and then I dropped right off. So the actual effort level of the sub 8 bike was really quite hard, and I was then very nervous about running because in my head I'd spent the whole time thinking it's going to be a really easy bike, I'm going to have a really great run, and then suddenly I was like, what's going to happen on this run? But the girls in the bike group were actually outperforming me in terms of the pace. I was having to tell them to slow down, which again was not part of the plan.
Right.
So I don't know whether I hadn't recovered enough from St. George or whether I just wasn't as good at holding the wheel. I think probably that. My husband keeps telling me off for like how far away I was from the wheel in front. And also, Ruth Astle gives a 0 draft even at 5 centimeters behind her.
She's teeny.
Zero
what were
job.
you thinking?
I do not understand how she moves through the air as quick as she does.
You needed like a Lisa Norden or something, somebody to sit behind who's tall.
Yeah, maybe about six people who are as tall as Lisa.
That is funny. So when we look at the St. George race, and like you said, back and forth with Daniela Reef, one of the greatest who's ever done it. That's cool.
It was so cool.
Really fun,
yeah,
right?
So cool.
And she loved it too.
Yeah, well, that's probably the coolest bit, is it wasn't just me creating this sort of situation in my head where I was racing with Daniela. She was like, "You were racing with me." I was like, "Yeah, I was." And honestly, at parts of that race, I was like, "Yeah, my power's a bit high. This is probably a bit reckless." But I feel really good. And I was at one point, I really pushed on. I took the lead. I was like, I'm not going to win this race. This is going through my head. I'm not going to win this race having not pulled a turn on the front. Like, I was that confident. I felt so good. Pulled a turn on the front. And then I was, oh, damn, she's still there. And then she obviously came past me. And I decided at one point, I think it was probably about, I'm not even sure, an hour and a half in, maybe 2 hours, that I was like, I can't. This is too risky. If I keep going with her up these hills where she was pushing, honestly, I was having to push nearly 300 watts. I was like, if I keep doing these big efforts, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to finish. That was what went through my head. Who knows what this situation would have been. I've toyed with it a few times. So yeah, I guess I sat back and tried to race my own race for the second half of the bike.
Yes. And then in the run, so your mile 6, you had 8 minutes on Annie coming out of transition. Then mile 6, it's 6 minutes. By 13.1, it's 2.5. It's sort of going in the wrong direction. You're hearing that, I'm assuming, and there's places you see her. So what are you thinking? What's going on in your head?
Feels a bit silly reminiscing on this race when there's like such a big one coming up in a couple of days.
Who cares about that?
Yeah, I knew Anne was catching me. I'd already resigned myself to the fact she was going to catch, and I had decided that I was still fighting for a podium. You know, a podium at the World Championships. That is the dream. So Anne was catching me, sort of full stop. I'd given up. There was no quicker I could have run on the day. I was in a whole world of hurt the second my feet touched the ground in T2. It was a war of attrition that day, and I don't think I had the capacity to even consider increasing pace or somebody coming up behind me. Yeah.
So we dropped to 2 minutes, then in front of 20 miles, and by 24 it went back the other way. So 3 minutes. So obviously Annie used a lot just to catch up the way she did. And then you get second at the World Championships. How cool was it?
It was very cool. And honestly, my pacing, similar to sub-8, was just steady the whole time. I think, to run 3 hours 57, I think. I just kept at one pace, and it wasn't
3 hours 57, yes.
It wasn't a targeted pace. It was just, this is the pace my legs are running today.
Yes.
And I think there was some input from other people on the course. It was more about just one foot in front of the other. Mark, I don't know if you guys know the St. George course, but it's basically 5K uphill, 5K downhill-ish, and then you just repeat that. So it's just up and down what feels like a mountain, but it's not really. It's only 2 or 3% gradient, I think. And Mark said to me with 11K to go, he said, just 5K, best effort, the best thing, you're the best thing you can, best effort 5K. And I was like, okay. And I think at that point, maybe mentally, that was where Anne didn't make that step up. And then running downhill, I was like, sweet. I knew as soon as I got to the top of the hill, which is my little game plan here. As soon as I get, I'm good to go. Like, that's me. I'm
downhill.
Yeah,
take that.
I'm taking some scalps on that downhill.
So, Thursday, women get their own race. Do you like that?
I think it offers some benefits, and I listened to Ruth Astle talk about this yesterday, and I was trying to clap in the background that there was no opportunity to. That
was a great point about the fact that people are at work. This starts in the middle of the night, so the people are at home, at work, or they got work the next day, so they're not staying up late. So the concern is that they might not see a lot of the race. Yeah,
exactly. And for us as professionals, I know it's about people being able to share the race with us, watching and supporting. And I know that that's a big part of it. I know that that's not necessarily the core of this race. So I personally feel like, yes, it's a shame in a way that there is less support physically because of the time differences and the dates, but equally it's about us racing here on the day,
Right.
and having all of the women racing together. It gives the age group women a fair race. Yes, there's a little bit of frustration having a couple of the men's age group in, because as in frustration for them, because it's not then giving them their own race on the overall age group race day.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's a toughie. You got 5,000 people, so how do you do it? Yeah, we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. What I like is the fact that a lot of times when you have the men and women racing together, we don't see what's happening past the top 3 women, right? We don't see. It's hard for the vehicles to get back for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So we don't see that race until somebody comes down on a Elite Drive and ran their way to 4th place. So I think we'll see the whole race a little better from a television perspective.
That would be unique and incredible.
Yes.
We haven't seen that. We didn't see that at Nice in 2019.
Oh, you didn't see it there?
We haven't seen in any of the women-only pro races in the last 3 years. So if Ironman pull that out the bag for Thursday, incredible. There is literally no reason why that can't happen.
There is no reason it can't happen. For sure it should. So what's the prognosis in terms of next season? What happens next?
My psychology at the moment is one day at a time. It sounds a
Okay.
bit cringe, but I'm on day 9 or something at the moment. Yes, I'm counting because it matters with my stitches. But I'm not thinking about the future at the moment. I know that bone healing takes 4 to 6 weeks, 6 being the sort of, it's healed. But it can take a few more weeks. So I'm giving myself the flexibility that hopefully in the next couple of months I'll be back and active. And I'm pretty happy that people take breaks all the time and they're fine. And I know that my fitness is good, so I can just jump back on the horse. And I reckon by, spring when races happen again, I'll be fitter than I've ever been.
Love it. How about a round of applause for Kat Matthews?
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy, 'cause it's breakfast with Bob.
Pancho Man,
Thank
everybody.
you.